less than fire on charge. Less than fire on charge.
Hey guys, what's going on? DaleyGaming here. Gonna be showing you guys a little bit of the Men of War Assault Squad 2 editor, or the GEM editor. This tutorial should sort of cover all of the editors for Men of War and Call to Arms and, Battle of Empires 1914 to 1918. I mean, it's pretty universal, maybe with a couple changes here and there, and feel free to ask in the comments if there is a change that you don't understand that doesn't translate from Men of War Assault Squad 2 to like Men of War Assault Squad or anything like that. One second, I'm just adjusting my headphone. There we go. So, this should be pretty basic for all of the editors. This is going to be a super basic editor thing, just so you guys can start fiddling around with it. I will be coming out with more in the future, and I'm planning on doing one for like creating your own maps, doing waypoints, reinforcements, all that good stuff. Some of the stuff I hardly ever even use in my videos. I do know how to do it, but it's just kind of a hassle, and you can do it manually anyway. So this is kind of a very basic setup. So, first thing you're going to want to do is press Escape. This comes up with your map editor menu. You're going to want to go down to load, and we're going to go ahead and load ourselves a pre-made map. Like I said before, I will be showing you guys how to make regular maps, your own maps, in the future, but right now we're just going to open up an already made one. I usually like to go into the multiplayer maps. They're usually far better. I mean, single player ones are good, but they have specific missions for them, so they're sort of rectangular and a little bit off. Well, the multiplayer ones are usually nice and square, easy to use, pretty much easy everything. So let's just go ahead and open up Canyon. Why not? They all have the same names as in the regular multiplayer. So you'll load up. Keep in mind you can't use WASD while in F2 mode, which I'll explain later. But you have to use your mouse, go to the edge of the screen, do that. Use middle mouse button to sort of rotate your camera. So now we're going to sort of show you guys the very basics. So, F1, F2, and F3 are all vital buttons for the editor. F1 will open up your, this is sort of like what you see in-game. It shows you the boundaries of the map, shows you what it will look like when you're actually playing it, and once you've clicked that start button. F2 is sort of your spawn-in menu. Well, it also has some other stuff, but we're going to leave that for later. But if you go to the little house up here called Entity, that is your spawn menu. So you've got fauna, you've got human, you've got vehicle, you've got construction, flora, FX, human skin, all the works. But mainly what we're going to be focusing on right now is human and vehicle. The others are pretty self-explanatory. Fauna is just chicken and cows for standard game, except some mods, add a few things. You can spawn in your little cow there or whatever. Construction, it's sort of walls and decor, so like a barricade there. And then human and vehicle, self-explanatory. Flora is bushes, ferns, trees. Effects are sort of like visuals, like this waterfall over here, I'm pretty sure is an effects. And then also, I think sound effects are in there too, as well as like fire and smoke and stuff. Yeah, like, you don't really need to go over the other ones right now. I'll do that in a future video. But right now we're going to be sort of sticking towards human and vehicle. Sorry, my mic is in a weird position today. So what I'm going to show you guys to do here today, that is a weird sentence, is basically just humans, vehicles, how to get them to fight, how to get them to do what you want. Quick tip though for the map is click F6. That'll come up with all your skyboxes. You can just select one you like. Just do it to make it look pretty in the editor. That's a pretty simple thing. So if you go to human, and first you got civilian. Those are just civilian characters. Not very fun. Multiplayer is a pretty good place to get all of your people. Well, actually, standard game is the only place. But then special is narrators and stuff. You don't really want to mess with that. But in mods, usually single player, there'll be civilian, multiplayer, single player, special. Single player is usually where you get your modded things. So if you have a mod installed, single player is where I would check for them. So anyway, if you go to multiplayer, unless it's a multiplayer mod, of course, in which case there's completely different things. Sorry, I'm trying to go very basic editor here, so this will be very, there might be a lot of lingo that you already know. There's probably a lot of things you already know, but this is for people who literally probably just bought the game or just have never used the editor before. So once you're in multiplayer, you got your factions: English, German, Japan, Russia, USA. Let's go ahead and just get some British people here. So you've got all of your different types. Sturmovik are basically elites, and pretty much the rest are self-explanatory. Home guards are pretty much just crappy. Flamer, more elites. AT riflemen, they're all just sort of labeled as they are. So let's go ahead and click on rifle, and we shall spawn in, say, 5 guys. Why not? And you do that by clicking. If you want to highlight them, just click and drag your mouse. You can do this with any sort of thing. And you can see that these properties for 5 human show up. And this is where you sort of control what they are, what they do, all that stuff. So first thing you want to go do is find player. Once you've found player, click on it, and you get all of these options for which player you would like to set them to. For this sake, I usually do player 1 for the first player and player 2 for the next. A lot of people like to do player 0. Just makes more sense to me if I do player 1. So now these people are set to player 1. They will attack anyone who is not also player 1 or an ally. So now, if we go down to brain, this is where you get all of the fun stuff, like fire mode. So it'll set whether or not they'll fire, return fire, or hold fire. Movement mode, if I'm doing a defense, I set it to hold. If it's on free, then they will pretty much move wherever you want, but if it's on hold, they'll stay exactly where they are. We'll just leave it on free for now. Movement radius is, if it's on free, it'll be, how far they'll move on their own at a time, sort of. AI move is enabled. That is fine for now, but if you want to disable it, and then actually that's a little complicated. That's sort of how you make a mission and make it so that player is who you play as, but we're going to skip over that for now, maybe in a future video. No advance, pretty self-explanatory, makes it so they will not advance forward if they're on free move mode. No retreat, makes it so they won't retreat if they're on free move mode. If they're on hold, neither of these apply. Let's go ahead and put them on no retreat. That's usually what I do for my videos. By the way, you can right-click, drag them around if they're highlighted. Also, C rotates them around, and X makes it so you can adjust the Z-axis. I don't usually do that because there's not a whole lot of a need for it. So now we've got these guys all set up as player 1, and let's get some Germans for them to fight. So we're just going to get some regular riflemen here. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to highlight them. Use C to turn them around, face the enemy. Now we are going to take them. I'm going to look for player. See, I got a little bit of the shrubbery there, so it also comes up with the shrubbery's properties, but you just want to scroll down until you find where player is. Once you get to player, select player 2. Now these two will fight each other because they are not on the same team. Go down, movement mode open, movement mode free, no retreat, and yeah, so now if I go ahead and press start, which I'm not going to do right now, these two will attack each other. But we sort of want to see how to make them move if we want to control them and whatnot. So F2 is what the screen should be right now for you. If you go ahead and press F1, this brings you to the player screen, what you would see in-game. Now, this is a frequently asked question, and it's very confusing because why the hell would the editor ever do this? But how to control them yourself. So, you're probably thinking, okay, press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, select your team. Above the keyboard, that sort of quick digits thing, That does not work. That will not. See, I'm clicking it now. It won't bring me over to player 1 so I can control them. Oh, whoops. You know, I can't select it. You have to use the number pad. If you don't have a number pad on your laptop or desktop, I think you can get an extension USB one, but you do have to use that. So now if I click can't talk. Now if I click one, what? Why is it? There we go. Okay. Sometimes you have to click number lock and then it'll come up on the numpad. Sometimes it won't. That's just a weird glitch with my computer. Not usually applicable to other ones. So if you click 1 on the numpad, comes up. You can select them. You've got your little units over here on the bottom left. You can do whatever you want. You can control them. You know, the works. It's just normal game now. Press 2. You switch over to the other team. Select them. Do whatever you want. Reposition them. This is probably the easiest way to sort of like get them behind barricades and stuff. So usually I place the men in this mode rather than you know, in the F2 mode where it's a little more tricky. You have to select them, move them, proceed. It's a little more natural if you do it that way. So that's what I like to do. So now that we know that, you can pretty much just press start and they'll start shooting at each other and you're golden. That is a basic battle for you there. But you're probably wondering, how do I put them in vehicles? That's another question I surprisingly get asked a lot. Never really thought of it as a big deal, but apparently it's kind of tough to figure out for some people. So let's go ahead and get some German tankmen here. So we got them. Now we want to go down to the vehicle slot. Go into, let's just get a medium tank, why not? So sadly the tanks are not, you know, sort of segregated into their specific countries, which is super annoying to me. You just sort of need to know what country has what tank, and after playing a lot of the game you sort of learn that. A lot of the M4s, those are all American. Crusaders, Cromwells, those sort of things, usually British, along with the Achilles, Archer, Bishop, you know, sort of those British things, I guess. Anything with Panzer or starts with a PZ or an STU, SU, stuff like that is, sorry, not SU, STU. Those are usually German. SUs are usually Russian, as along with the T models like T-34, T-35, those kind of things. So that's sort of your guide to that. It's a little confusing. Also, the Chis are all Japanese. You just sort of need to know the tanks. But you can also look at them, see what they are before you place them. You know, like, oh, let's see, M12 GMC. Well, that's pretty obviously an American one. M4A3 Zippo. That's another one. Or PZ5G. That looks like a Panther. So we'll just spawn in one of those. Why not? So now we're going to go over to our tankmen, and we need to give them their player. So we'll make them player 2, because that is the German team we designated. We're going to want to go movement mode hold, because I don't like it when the tanks move on their own. So you got to go ahead, go into F1 mode, select player 2, and then you just put them in the tank, just like normal game. Apparently this is kind of tricky for people to figure out, but you just need the crew for it. You need to crew it, and then you should be golden. Sometimes when you set the... Yeah, see it happen here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It might be certain vehicles, or maybe I'm just dumb. But sometimes when you set the tank crew to hold, the tank won't be set to hold, so you're going to have to go into movement mode for the tank, in screen, press hold. You can also do it in F2, but it's usually easier in screen for that. So now we've got ourselves a tank. Rotate it this way. Let's go ahead and give the British a tank too. Let's give them a Cromwell MK7. That looks lovely. There we go. Now we can go ahead and get ourselves some tankmen. So I'm going to spawn one tankman. Make him player 1, movement mode hold. Now, here's a little trick for you that has helped me a billion times, and I'm sure you've realized. You can copy and paste in this. Just do Control-C on the entity, it will copy all of your properties as well, which is very nice. Control V, of course, pastes it, and you can go ahead and toss them in that tank for you. So now we have a lovely little skirmish that would probably never realistically happen. Maybe a truce was being done between these two squads, and then, oh shit, hit the fan. Press start. This Cromwell's never going to survive the Panther. And they will, of course, attack each other. And that's lovely. Panther's not attacking. Oh, it was at a bad angle. There you go. And so yeah, it's nifty swifty. Very fun stuff. And then it's just regular game. Once you press start, press finish, ends it, should bring you back to your standard editor, right where you left off. Once you press start, by the way, I'm going to click it again. Wow, this time the Germans had a tough go at it. So I have these tanks set to not move on their own, but they will fire on their own. Panther's just at a very bad angle, so it won't fire. It should fire now. Apparently it doesn't want to. It should, though. It will in normal game, don't worry. It's just, see, this thing's moving on its own because I didn't set this one to move. Mode, only this one. Oh, yep, it's going to fire now. There you go. So, pretty much, that is about it, but I did want to show you that you can click F2 while you've already started the game, spawn stuff in. The warning is that the stuff you spawn will automatically be player 0. Also, if you go ahead and press finish after that, it will not save the things you spawned during game. So you're going to have to do that before. But you can do it sort of just to spice things up a bit if you want to. We'll get into F3 probably in another video. Never even use it hardly, except for making missions. There are other aspects to F2 like creating your own terrain and stuff, which we will cover in another video in depth, so you can make some sweet maps, yo. Let's make a crater here. That's lovely. Love it. Sweep. Yes. So I'll teach you all. It burned. I'll teach you all about that later. Hope you enjoyed this. This was a very, very, very basic understanding of the editor. It gets so much more in depth, but with this, oh, Panther blew up. With this, you will be able to make your own battles. This is how I started making battles. Very simple ones, 2 very elaborate ones. Of course, you can select your men and sort of like find cover for them. So like you can find cover behind this rock. You can set up a sweet defense mission. You can do a lot with this, actually. The basics of the editor, once you know them, you can do so much. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Comment, rate, and subscribe if you did. I hope this was very informative for you. Tell me what you want me to explain in the editor for the next video. I was thinking about creating a map for the next video and doing all that good stuff. So, this is DaleyGaming, signing off. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.